Okay, just wanted to make a quick video on just some more Pennsylvania stuff that happened in the past here. So, remember we had Jerry Sandusky, who was supposedly molesting young boys, and he was a coach at Penn State University. But what's interesting is that he was actually originally charged with 52 counts of sexual abuse. I mean, interesting, it's 52. Been talking about 52 like crazy. Also, he ended up only getting 45 of the charges. So 45 is, I've talked about that as well, with that's evil. That's the backwards of love. So he was originally charged with 52 and he ended up only getting 45. And obviously I'm mentioning this because the Pope is coming to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania where Penn State is. So we've been talking about Obama and being the 44th president and tons of other stuff, but this guy was born in 1944, and it says that in 1966, which is 49 years ago, they adopted 6 children. And the only kid that you can click on is John Sandusky, and you click on him, and look, he was born on the 52nd day of the year in 1977. But what's interesting about Jerry Sandusky is, other than football, he's actually known because he founded the Second Mile nonprofit charity organization. And this was an organization for underprivileged youth. So it even says that President George H.W. Bush praised the group as a shining example of charity work, and it was one of the president's much promoted 1,000 points of lights. And if you look more into this actual saying, the 1,000 point of light, but the phrase, it actually came from, or it was used in the past by H.G. Wells in 1917. Or not, maybe not the exact phrase, but that's where they're saying the history of it came from. It was from this, and he says, at 1,000 points, the light is shining through. And then it says it dates back clear to this, a model of Christian charity. But the last time that it was used before the 1988 speech, or at least that's what most people say anyway, is that it was in C.S. Lewis's 1955 novel, The Magician's Nephew. And this book actually came out on May 2nd, 5/2 of 55. But that's really not even what I was going to talk about. So I've talked about Obama being assassinated and how it seems like they're foreshadowing it and whatnot. Well, this guy actually died the same day as JFK. And I made a video about this a long time ago. Also, this guy that wrote A Brave New World also died on the exact same day as JFK. So, interesting. You know, you don't really hear that much about these two guys, I guess. You only hear about JFK dying. But the moral of the story is I wanted to go back to, so I've showed some 52s around this, and it was in Philadelphia. But Jerry Sandusky coached at Penn State, and the head coach is Joe Paterno. And when all this happened, he got in trouble for not coming out to the authorities saying that he knew information about Sandusky molesting the boys or whatever. So they took away, it says 111, but they actually gave him a win at the end of the season that he didn't coach, so it's actually 112. But on here, it actually says 111. But then they included even, I'll tell you, I'll explain it in a second, but it's actually 112. This is even from 2015 or whatever, so 112. And I'm still not sold on the idea that this doesn't, they're not using this as 22, like 11 times 2, 22. Because, back in like last December and whatnot, I talked about all these 22s. It seemed like 112 was everywhere. 112 is also the same as like in America we use 911. And in Europe, 112 is the common emergency telephone number. So interesting, it's 112. But look when Joe Paterno died then. He died on 122. Pope Francis, if you add him up, he adds up to 122. San Francisco adds up to 122. Just a ton of things Golden State adds up to 122. He was even born on 12/21/1926. So if he was still alive, he would be 88 years old this year. But 12, I mean, just look at 12/21. It's literally 122, and it's the mere 122. I never thought about that before. So 12/21. He was also began his coaching career at Penn State in the year 1966, which is 49 years ago. And then when they gave him all of his wins back, he became the winningest coach in football history or whatever, college football history again, with 409. You take out the 0, that's a 49. Anyway, so let's look at when they gave him his wins back. So when he lost them, so he went back to 409, but when he lost them all, Bobby Bowden became the next guy in line or whatever with 377, and that was only in NCAA Division I football. This guy had the most overall, but it was because it wasn't all in the NCAA Division I or whatever. So anyway, let's click on Bobby Bowden here, BB8822. But this guy was born on 11/8/88. He was even the coach at Florida State for 34 years. So interesting. But he coached elsewhere for 10 seasons. So he actually, in his whole career, he coached 44 seasons, but only 34 at Florida State, what he is actually known for. Also, this other guy here then, the guy that had 408 and actually took over the lead or whatever, was Eddie Robinson. And this guy was born on the first day of Lupercalia, so the 44th day of the year in 1919. The Mears, whatever, 1919. Also dies on 4/3 of 2007. And, I mean, definitely, he died at age 88. He was also the coach at a historically black university, Grambling State University, for 57 seasons. Interesting. Obama's in the 57th term as president. Also died on 4/3, like I said, so that all ties into what I've been talking about. And also, his middle name is Gay. I mean, go figure. And his name in gematria is 133, same as South America, where the Pope is from. Homosexual is 133. I mean, craziness. The Pope became Pope on 313 or 13-3. So also it said that when he died, they had a thing at a memorial service held at Bryce Jordan Center. And I've been thinking about Michael Jordan. There's a ton of Jordan stuff. I'm going to make a video on that as well, hopefully before the day is over. But the Bryce Jordan Center is named after a guy named Bryce Jordan, who was born on September 22nd. So very interesting. I just talked about how that goes with the 9/9. Also, it's the first day of Lupercalia, and is February 13th, and then it goes through the 15th, and I've talked about how I think it's whatever they're doing with September 23rd, it's actually going to be September 22nd through the 25th, or the 24th would be 3 days, just like Lupercalia. And even like Michael Jordan, there's a ton of stuff that dealt with 9/22 with Michael Jordan. So, like he's born on 2/17, and 217 days later is September 22nd. Also, his name in gematria adds up to 52. Interesting. Like Princess Charlotte was born on 5/2. All the Pope is 52. All these 52s. So, the last thing I want to point out is that Jerry Sandusky was actually originally indicted on November 4th, 11/4. Just like we're in the 114th Congress. There's 57 days left until the end of the year. Obama's in his 57th term, in the 57th term of president. It's Egyptian Valentine's Day. There's a ton of stuff with this day. So interesting. It happened on this day. That's when it all started. And leaving it at that, just wanted to point out that it had like 52s and 122 in the story, and I actually talked about this a long time ago, and I didn't really understand what it all meant, but crazy that it has the 52s and the 122s. Even on some months or whatever, 100 or 52 days is 1 month, 22 days even. Just depends on how many, like, I guess how many days are in the month. So, like February, it wouldn't work. But, yeah, just pointing that out. Another Philadelphia thing with 52s, 122. Pope Francis is coming to Philadelphia. So, yeah, have a good one.